the stock market, meaning companies, new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving.
The show goes on.
They're nuts. They know nothing.
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Welcome, my degenerates. The rest of your life starts right now on Market Mania. This is the no bullshit approach to all financial markets, from Bitcoin and darknets to political betting. And of course, I bring it to you right here from the US stock market, the largest casino in the world. I'm your host, Brian Micon, thanks to Brett Ritchie for filling in for me yesterday. And I am a financial genius, Bitcoin class of 2011, and a poker player. Joining me are these two brilliant degens as well, Brett Ritchie and Matt Glantz. Glantz traded options on the floor of the Philly Exchange back in the day, and Brett is the head of Blitzpick, coming to a blockchain near you. The whole thing is put together by Tony the producer. And this is Market Mania! We're locked and loaded. Hell of a day in the markets, Tony. Let's get right to it, Matt Glantz. How is the options fund doing today?
We're doing all right. We're up at 1%, waiting for this stimulus news to become fact. It's right now it's a rumor with Pelosi, but we're going to do good if they announce that stimulus for real. Brad, what's going on? Is everyone in Robinhood waiting for this deal also?
Everyone's waiting, man, to get those 1,200 checks, and at least some of that money from some of those people is going to find its way into Robinhood accounts. So let's get into it.
That is the big story today. The 1,200 again. They're going to ship it out. What's the latest on this? What's the latest on the old Trump thing?
Do you think it's kind of a coincidence that it's $1,200 checks the same day as $12,000 Bitcoin? It's all
things are connected. It's all a circle. Everything's connected.
So what's going on, Brett?
They've been negotiating forever. Mnuchin and Pelosi are the two main people that are negotiating sort of on each side, and they hope to get a deal done today that would then have to go through the House and Senate for approval. The House is pretty much a slam dunk. The Democrats are more in favor of the stimulus, it seems. Personally, I think the Senate is going to be a slam dunk too, as we'll see. Tony, if you can pull up that other tweet, there's a poll on the stimulus. 72% of people support a stimulus bill. Matt, what do you make of this?
I mean, this is not your normal socialist agenda. This is, COVID happened, the government shut down the economy, people were out of jobs, people lost their small businesses. It's really not their fault. So, and now people are waiting, to get a check to pay the rent, to get food for the family. It's really hard to be against this. I personally don't know anyone that's against the stimulus right now.
But we should call it socialism. I mean, if we ask those same people, are you for or against socialism? Like, everybody's against because they think that's bad. But 72% says you should take public funds and give them out to people. What the hell you call that?
I think it's just it's a degree. This is more of like a one-time or apparently not two-time thing. This is not how we want to operate. I would say most people don't want handouts from the government consistently, but also when the government shuts things down, it's like pick one or the other. If you're going to shut all these businesses down, you gotta give the money out to people and help businesses survive. Also, you can't just shut it down and give people nothing. That's then the authoritarian state.
But anyway, we'll find out today around 4 or 5 o'clock. Mnuchin and Pelosi are meeting at 3 p.m. They're going to discuss it a little bit, kiss each other on the lips a little bit, and then they're going to make an announcement. Trump will be right on it saying that he got the best deal. Pelosi will say that the Republicans gave them everything. They got the best deal, but everyone will be happy.
What's the market going to do, Glantz? If you had to guess, let's just say they announce it. All right, stimulus coming, more checks, not socialism. It's only one time and you only print up 40% more USD. This year. But then what does the market do? Is it going to pop? Is it expecting it? Is it going to flat, drop? What do you think?
It seems hard for the old school stocks, the travel, the banks, the cruise lines, for those not to go up when the stimulus checks get cut. When the official deal is made, seems like the old school stocks will be going up. I don't know so much about the NASDAQ. It might be a little muted reaction because you would think you'd want to sell the Peloton, sell the Zooms, and buy the old school stocks when that comes out.
All right. The other key piece of info that's going to move markets is this vaccine key dates. Matt Glantz, I know you're following this one real close.
Okay, so
What's
this
going
is
on?
So back in the end of July, the Pfizer CEO came out and said they have a timeline for a vaccine where they think they'll get some kind of government approval by the end of October. They changed that recently, but the Borlo is his name, the Pfizer CEO, said we may know whether or not our vaccine is effective by the end of October. So we're looking in the next 2 week time frame, maybe less, where if he comes out with a statement that says, yes, this vaccine, we know for now, we're sure, we're Pfizer, which everyone trusts, and we're sure this thing works and it's safe, the market's going to fly on that too. So there's other potential news. This is the biggest of all the vaccines stocks, vaccine companies, the most trustworthy. This is the one that wouldn't be so much of a surprise to come from Pfizer, but any announcement that solves the problem is going to be huge for the market.
I saw Moderna said something. They said that they got November to where they know if the vaccine works or something, or the trial or so. I mean,
Right,
that
but they
one's
just don't
nothing
have
like the
clout that
Pfizer one.
Pfizer has. You know, if you always hear about people unwilling to take the vaccine, most people will be much more willing to take a vaccine from Pfizer than they would from a company called Moderna.
Brett Ritchie, you following any of this vaccine? You taking it? You're going to be first in line?
I will say this. I think people lining up to be first to take the vaccine are somewhat nuts. The vaccine is such a, I guess, huge reward, right? It's billions upon billions of dollars for whichever company develops this. Corners are going to be cut, not necessarily by Pfizer, as Matt is saying. I don't know enough about the space, but there are going to be a lot of smaller, maybe the Nikolas of this pharmaceutical industry that are going to be cutting corners to win this race, right? It's worth billions to these people. We've seen this happen time and time again.
But you wouldn't expect that from Pfizer or Eli Lilly, those kind of companies.
Sure. You don't, I mean, not necessarily, but I'm talking more about the smaller ones. I wouldn't necessarily expect it out of them. Even so, at the same time, it's not like everyone in Pfizer is just some amazing person. Corners still could be cut somewhere along the line in that chain. The reward here is so huge, and they're really rushing to get it done. Every company is like all hands on deck. Let's win this race.
NVaxes of the world, the DVaxes of the world. There are some smaller coronavirus focused companies out there, but all those have pumped huge the last couple months. Just, what if their lottery ticket comes in?
The first company that gets the bona fide vaccine gets a $2 billion deal from the government for 100 million doses, I think it was. And then it could be extended to 5 times that if it goes well.
I mean, it's a $20 billion deal, whoever gets, in my opinion. Not necessarily just that deal with the government, but it's just like a $20 billion hit for the company that gets it first.
All right. Moving along.
Nikola.
The Nikolas of the world. Now,
Brian Lycon loves Nikola stories.
Gotta love it. I mean, you don't get one this clean you don't get a scam that's this good very often.
How bad do you want to ring the ocarina with this one?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. This is the ocarina that's played every time a stock is delisted, and we honor that stock on Market Mania by playing the ocarina. Never happened before in our 19 episode early seasons here, but we're hoping that we get to play. I mean, we're going to get to play it eventually, but everybody will have to wait. So the big story doesn't necessarily involve Nikola, but I would say one of the key things is that it doesn't mention Nikola. GM to invest more than $2 billion, top page of CNBC earlier today, that they got at all the other ones. Bloomberg, everyone's got this story. $2.2 billion they're going to ship in to make everything electric in the plants and whatnot. But this deal with Nikola, this was supposed to close on the 30th of last month. They delayed it. And then they just say, all right, we're going to ship it in and make some EV-related stuff. They got the Hummer coming out, the EV Hummers coming soon, but no mention of Nikola. Not like, hey, we're going to shoot out that Badger that everybody pre-ordered for $100. None of that. I don't know. I mean, Matt Glantz, what do you think about this? If you're a Nikola investor, you would have loved to see their name here.
I mean, it's just a slap in the face, right? But then again, the guy that runs Nikola now is an ex-GM executive, so they're friendly with each other or in bed with each other. So I don't think they're going to push Nikola aside. unless they absolutely have to. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep Nikola whole and help them survive.
But Richie, Robinhood's pumping Nikola on this news today. I mean, they must have think, if you're a Nikola investor, you're just like, all right, GM's going all electric. That means that the Badger's coming back, baby.
I'll say this: I'm frequently surprised by some of these sort of swing trades, these momentum stocks, where I don't quite get the move. I don't get that move here. To me, this is like a clear, again, I mean, everything for the last few months has just been a blaring sell signal. But how is this a buy? GM didn't even mention it. They're going to do their own thing. I know what you said, Matt, about they have these relationships, but at some point, Nikola may just be too toxic. And I think that's a pretty high likelihood of GM walking away from this deal because Nikola is just too toxic. And the GM shareholders may say to GM, hey, I don't care about your relationship. We don't want you to do a deal with these guys.
And I heard Trevor Milton, he's in his Utah mansion and he's sending interns to go get lettuce wrapped Wendy's. He's pouring the organic ketchup all over it. He's like, go get me a bun. Get me the bread today. I'm tilted. I mean, he's got to be tilted sitting on the sidelines. He used to be the big man, the big show.
I don't think he's very tilted. He cashed out hundreds of millions. He's got the biggest or the most expensive house in Utah. I think he's probably doing just fine.
You think he's got any baddies over there? I mean, I just wonder what he's doing. I just wonder how he's taking it. I'd love to see the update. We'll never see the update, but I don't know. I'm just curious. All right. Moving along to some more difficult times. So AMC, the movie theater that I think probably damn near everyone has seen a movie in, obviously had to close them during the Rona. Brett Ritchie, this has been on a ride the last couple of days in Robinhood.
Yeah, yesterday it pumped 22% on news. It's going to be back in New York. Obviously, a lot of states seem to be, or at least post-election, as Matt says, coronavirus is going to be over in a couple weeks. Movie theaters are going to start opening again. You see the stock pumping. Today, however, it took another double-digit hit back down because they say they're still facing bankruptcy and they are going to have to sell some more shares into the market. So if you look at the whole year for this stock, it has been just a pretty big roller coaster. If you've been kind of calling out the correct moves in this stock on the whole year, you'd be up a fortune. Matt, have you followed AMC at all? Are you following this stock?
Yeah, my 18-year-old son worked for AMC, the movie theater, when he was in high school. So, I actually do follow this company, this stock. It's just a bad business for this environment. But, eventually the equity is going to get so cheap that either Netflix or Amazon, someone's just going to, it's like a pimple on their ass to buy this company. So they'll be fine. They'll survive.
And the other thing is, movie theaters were already sort of on a downward trend before coronavirus. It just kind of accelerated it due to Netflix, all these other home entertainment options. People just weren't going to the movie theater as much. It's becoming more of like a luxury entertainment experience. So it just kind of accelerated it. But as you said, Matt, it's not a zero. It's not going to be probably ever hit its peak again.
This company's cheap as hell too. What is it? $200-300 million or something at current prices? And they're about to get diluted.
Equity just probably not worth much. That's all.
Yeah. It just,
I mean,
you're right. $150 billion Netflix.
When there's like a full opening, I would bet on them that quarter to exceed earnings. I don't know what their estimates would be, but I think people are going to just want to do things that they haven't been able to do. They're going to rush back to the theater.
Here's the thing. Just think, how are they going to grow earnings from where they were before COVID? Like at what point will they make more money than they did before?
They're gonna have one or two good quarters, and then it's lights out.
They'll never go above that peak ever. So it's lights out for these guys, pretty much.
All right.
I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
On to yet another possible fail. The jury's still out here. The pudding has yet to show any proof in it. But Filecoin, one of the biggest stories in crypto, both 3 years ago and this week, the 200 million plus ICO finally launched a mainnet where you can store files on the old blockchain and or blockchain, controlled storage here. And there was a bunch of shenanigans, way too deep technically to get into on Market Mania, but there was a lot of hate that hit right after the Filecoin mainnet started. It turns out that, and again, I may have this wrong, but so take it with a grain of salt here, but you have to buy Filecoin if you're a miner, if you're one of the people providing storage on the network. It seems like you have to buy some Filecoin so you can lock it up and then essentially, incentivize you not to take your storage off the network. But then there's a very small float, as Brett Ritchie brought up a couple Market Manias ago. And so these miners were then forced to essentially pump the price of Filecoin right at the beginning, just so they can get enough FIL to just, I guess it's staking, locking, baking. I'm not exactly sure what they're calling it. Proof of storage, proof of replication. And so, but you needed to buy it. And then there was very little float. And so it seemed like one guy reported on Twitter that there was a lot of miners just turning that shit off until the price went down on the FIL till they could, and it takes a while to like cook. Yeah, you cook like a gig at a time, or I don't exactly know how it works. I don't know. Brett Ritchie, did you follow any of this Filecoin shenanigans?
I've been following it. I mean, people are unhappy with some of, I guess, the economics behind it. It's really expensive to mine, just from an equipment standpoint. Then you potentially have to keep buying these coins, which are at like an absurdly inflated price, because as we covered on the first show, something like 14 million of a 2 billion supply are circulating. So the fully diluted cap of this thing is in the hundreds of billions, which is like senseless at this point, right? It's way too early for this brand new project to have a market cap of like 200 billion. There's another interesting thing is that, and this is not verified, I've seen a fair amount of like pretty reputable accounts on Twitter talking about it though, is that some of the testnet coins were able to be cashed in for real money on certain exchanges. So you had people dumping testnet coins, miners mine the testnet, earn these testnet coins that they were then able to cash in as real Filecoins for real dollars, which
all right, guys, I need to break in here. Enough of this crypto talk. We have some actual breaking news going on right now.
You have to seal the terabytes.
Tony, we'll get
guys, if you look on the top right of the screen here, the futures are flying, and that is because the Fed, Evans from the Fed just announced they could be buying more assets than that at the moment if needed. They could eventually do more accommodation if needed. Those are the two headlines coming out of the Fed. More money printing going on right now, announcing, making the futures fly. This is Trump's plan to get the Dow to 30,000 by election day. I'm sure of it.
The money printers going as we speak. More money printed.
But we got to talk to Tony about this ass gold before we get out of here. What's going on with this, Tone?
Hey guys, this is a strong indication that you need to be buying gold and silver. When you start to see people smuggling it in their ass, you know that you're about to reach some market rocket fuel. This has been happening in Dubai just over and over this week. They keep catching people trying to smuggle gold. This one dude.
Can you see that picture, Tony?
Oh yeah, look, this guy pounded it into ass. So,
how many carats was that, Tony?
Oh man, I don't even want to know. They said he was walking funny, and that's how they found him. I bet. Imagine having that. Mycon, we talked a little bit last week. I was big on silver, and you said, but yeah, you try and get through a checkpoint with it, they're just going to steal it from you, which is why crypto is great. I gotta agree. I can put a lot more crypto in my ass than I can put gold.
Yeah, a little flash drive that fits pretty snugly right on in there.
You can do a brain wallet.
You know what?
Circle 12 words in a book. There's a lot of ways here.
No way I'm getting that in. I'm gonna have to get a hammer and start pounding these down because I got to get off this Titanic someday. So.
Did they say exactly how that fit in the human, or do we just assume the usual orifice, or is no more specifics there? What's the little one for? It's the little. I kind of with you on the bit. I don't know.
That's to fill in the corner, I think. I mean, yeah, these look somewhat anatomically correct, but you're going to be walking straight and sitting straight the whole time. Anyway, buy gold. People are putting in their ass. Back to you guys.
I mean, there's also a big story today about Bitcoin pushing 12K, and I look at all the usual squawking heads that are like, well, it's going to break resistance and go right to the all-time high because of a stock flow model that I have calculated here on this chart. So, I guess it's, and then the Fed's printing today. I mean, I guess it's time to start shoving metals. It's the shoving metals up your ass time of the economy.
Or just
Thank
buy
you,
Bitcoin,
Tony.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how are you shoving gold up your ass before you're buying the coin? I don't quite get that, but all right. We do appreciate that from Tony, the producer, always on top and inside of the big stories that move the markets every day. So I think by this time in the show, I think after we've done enough, everybody knows what time it is. Brett Ritchie, I have one of these being sent to you so that you can get your safety glasses on whenever that you lead the show. And then it is absolutely time for the non-investment advice Market Mania pick of the day. We don't waste your time on this show. We compact it in, much like the gold in India and Dubai travelers' asses. Matt Glantz, what is your pick of the day?
All right, here's a new name you haven't heard of. Pinduoduo, PDD.
Correct.
It's 91 now. I started buying it today at 89. It was up $4. Now it's up almost 7 or something. These guys are coming in laser sharp, buying calls, out of the money calls, 90 calls, 100 calls, 110 calls out to January. They must know something. This is a Chinese internet e-commerce stock. 100, I think it's 100 billion market cap. So it's big, but I never heard of it before today. And I just know when I've never heard of a stock and they come in buying these calls like crazy, they always know something. So get long this. We'll see if it's over 100 by next week.
The tea leaves said to buy, Brett Ritchie. So what is your pick of the day?
Well, we needed that, whatever that guy is that said the thing that Matt just talked about. We needed him to wait about 10 minutes, but my pick of the day is still going to be long the SPY. I am bullish on the stimulus deal getting done, the Fed printing. Trump, as Matt said, he wants the Dow over 30,000 points going into the election. Print, buy, whatever it is. I think it's a pretty safe time to go long on the U.S. markets.
And I would like to get a little bit short right now. So not always going to agree here on Market Mania between the hosts. I am going to go short Beyond Meat. One of my favorite dogs that's just been pumping ridiculous recently. And then they got earnings coming up on the 27th or so next week. And that's always a reckoning time for Beyond Meat, where people have to look at these anemic sales numbers and then this massive valuation and be like, well, am I vegan enough to still be in at these valuations? And short Beyond Meat. Fuck them. Didn't taste that good. It's kind of fake. All right. I think everybody knows that the world is it's pretty fucked right now. I mean, this is the most contentious election that I've ever seen in my life in the American markets. And I don't know. You got, your Antifa, cousin arguing with your MAGA uncle on the Facebook every day. But I like to take solace in words from Drake on the 2 Chainz track, No Lie, where he said, young as an intern, but money like I built the shit. Streets talking, they'll confirm. Go ask them who just killed the shit. Stay keeping my cup full so I'm extra charged like a state tax. Me and Chainz go way back. We don't talk shit. We just state facts. Like and subscribe to Market Mania on the old YouTube. Follow us on the old Twitter at Market Mania Show. And we'll see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it's lights out.
Come on, I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. Come on, I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. Come on, I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. Come on, I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold, never domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl. Switch it up. I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard, got the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury. Power of attorney, wow, we're turning. Can't lie like Mississippi burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I imagine you'll look the other way. Couldn't clear space on my mind, was afraid of the time. Strobe lights like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now, how about tonight? My interview's tight now, I was